Hey guys, if we reach 1,000 likes, we'll be giving out 2 of our new shirts. All you gotta do is click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Everything good has to end eventually. At least that's what we tell ourselves. It's kind of something that we tell ourselves perhaps just to cope with the short lives that we have, but it is true. Some things that are good are horrible in excess. Alcohol, sugar, even things as simple and necessary as water will kill you if taken too much of. But in relation to stories, sometimes the longer it goes, the worse it gets. Or less subjectively, the more inaccessible it becomes to new people. You see, there's a bunch of shows out there that I would love to watch, and yet the daunting number of the episodes puts me off. And if someone doesn't want to start from the very beginning, there's dozens to hundreds of references that this person won't understand. In fact, this is why the DC and Marvel universes have all rebooted. Not the movies per se, the movies constantly retell the same stories, but the comics were getting up to 700, 800, it was just too much. No one could keep up with the lore of everything. So eventually, they just redid everything. The lower numbers made it more easy for people to come to terms with reading them. And because new stuff was happening that no one really knew, it made it accessible for everyone. Now look at MOP. It has over 100 background characters and 6, soon to be 7 seasons worth of context. Remember the age of the children the show is aimed at. If they start to reference things from season 2, most kids won't remember. They wouldn't have paid that close of attention, unlike us nerds. The target demographic will be detached from the show, tuning in less and less. For every reference they don't get, that's more of the audience that is put off by the content. And once they're too far disassociated, the show would be pulled. It wouldn't be the first time a show is cut due to not being popular with its target demographic after all. There's also something a lot of people overlook. Shows are ended simply because they can be ended. Shows like Kim Possible had extremely high ratings, but was ended simply because there was enough episodes to keep it in syndication, meaning they could still make money by simply replaying old content instead of putting money into new episodes. I think what saves MOP from this is the constant toy updates. These all come from the new episodes and may be why we see such drastic changes such as new changelings. Remember, MOP hasn't had a show for years, and was still coming out with new toys, so they don't exactly need a new show per se to move units. I know a lot of us would love to think that the show will live on forever and ever, and that MOP will never end, but in truth, it's not really dependent on how many people want to leave the fandom 5 ever, or how high or low the show ratings are. Just like life, the show could be pulled unexpectedly for a number of reasons. And should we even want it to live on for so long? The whole philosophy of life only being meaningful because of its shortness may hold true in this instance as well. But there's one thing that is a universal constant: the law of conservation of energy. MOP actually is a great example of this. MOP has had multiple generations, all very different from the last. It has new iterations of itself, not necessarily reboots or continuations, but entire new worlds based upon the same IP. It's essentially MOP and then Fallout Equestria. These characters have similar names to old characters, but most of them don't even act anything like them. MOP may live on for many, many generations, but eventually the generations will teeter out. They'll move on. Maybe toys will still be there, but do we really want a show to survive only because of toys? What kind of stories would that produce? What kind of seasons would we really have? I saw a lot of complaints about season 6, mainly due to the promises of exploring Equestria not being fulfilled. Whether this was because of the writers or executive decisions, it doesn't really matter to the average viewer. They wanted to see more of Equestria, and unfortunately that wasn't met. However, the ratings were the same, toy sales are up, so why do they really care? If Hasbro truly follows the philosophy of toys before anything else, do we really want MOP to live on forever? For me, I guess I would both love and hate it to go on. Obviously, I do a lot of MOP content, but as cynical as I am about the show, I do at heart love it. and I don't want to see it become a walking, shambling corpse of what it formerly was. We got into this show for various reasons, but we got into it because we liked it. I don't want to see the show die and yet continue to still air. MOP will end. Steven Universe will end. Your life will end. Everyone you've ever known will end. But new things come and take our place. So, if one door closes, another one opens, and all those cliches. Ending is really just the beginning to something else. And, quite frankly, I'm interested to see what comes after MOP. We're in a weird time. I don't think shows have been as consistently good as they are now. Yes, there are a lot of bad shows, but think about it. We have Adventure Time, Steven Universe, MOP. That's a lot of huge shows. And I'm not even mentioning all the ones that are out there. We have an abundance of quality content, and they're realizing that quality content does in fact sell. In fact, if you make a quality show, it can be targeted at both kids and adults. So truly, I'm very curious to see what comes after MOP. What comes after Steven Universe. This is an amazing time to be alive. I'm looking forward to the end of MOP. Woo! Hey.